All right, so I just finished watching the Surviving R. Kelly documentary, and that was rough. That was disturbing. That was a lot to take in. I I'm blown away how this man is still walking these streets. I'm blown away by how many people, even now after this has been released, are still protecting him. I'm also blown away by the fact that when he first had to go to court for this, he was acquitted of all charges because the family lied about who was in the video of him pissing on a 14-year-old girl. It's so bizarre to me, the influence that this guy had and the way that he strategically did things to get you off of his trail. Every time, and watching the documentary, they explain like the timelines of all this stuff. Every time he started getting into some hot water and the spotlight started shining on him about how he was treating these young girls, he dropped another song to throw everybody off the scent. And these songs are songs that I grew up to. Step in the Name of Love, I Believe I Can Fly, I Wish, The World's Greatest. This dude played everyone. For years, he hid in plain sight while essentially running a cult of women and telling them what they can and can't do. I'm going to try to give you a lowdown of what was said in the documentary, because if you want to watch it, dude, brace yourself. That shit is, and I might cuss a lot here because it struck a nerve, and it made me very emotional watching these women get into these situations with him, not knowing what's going on, and then being taken advantage of, and essentially being brainwashed to believe that this was the proper way for them to live. But the gist of it is, if you don't know, R. Kelly was charged multiple times with having sexual relations with underage girls. And I don't mean just 16-year-olds, like the age range from like 13 to 17 as far as the underage goes. He also was abusive towards these women. He was known to starve them. He was known to pretty much make sure that they were unable to talk to anybody without his say so. They were unable to eat without his say so. They were unable to go to the bathroom without his say so. He put them through some really traumatizing shit. And it's crazy that now, it's 2019, now we're talking about it again, to the extent of people are now awake and realizing that, yo, this motherfucker needs to be in jail. He still has girls that he's mistreating now, after all this time. And the main thing that they kept saying is, like, he's doing all these things, but he's got the backing of the black community, because he keeps dropping like these church style songs. He keeps like writing, and he is a genius when it comes to music. He's an artist. Like, his voice is incredible. I can't take that away from him, but he's using it as a weapon to throw everybody off of his scent. And man, the main nerve that struck with me is that there was an episode, I think it might have been episode 2, and there's 6 episodes in all, and they're like an hour apiece. I think it was episode 2 or 3. Sparkle was on it as well. And they pretty much said, well, did you guys try to tell anybody? Did you guys try to go for help? And the girls were like, we did, but no one gave a shit about a young black girl. And that right there blew my mind. And it blew my mind because I remember when he was being charged with all these things, and all of these people were like, well, there's two sides to the story. These girls are just trying to get money out of him. And I get to a certain degree that idea, because let's be real, there are people who are shitty and they lie to get ahead in life, to get what they want without having to work for it. So lying about a celebrity doing something wrong to you so you can sue them and get a shit ton of money, that part of the story makes sense. The problem is that the people who were really going through this shit are coming out and telling you, I'm being abused, I've been molested, I'm being raped, essentially. And people aren't believing you. They're thinking that you're crying wolf. Boy who cried wolf, all over. And it was Sparkle's niece. Her story was the saddest because she was the one who was in the sex tape that got released. She was the one who was humiliated and degraded. And the whole world saw this tape. It went viral everywhere. Everyone saw this tape, and she's on it. And it was clearly R. Kelly, and it was clearly her. And R. Kelly's team tried to blame the younger brother and saying it was him, which is the shittiest thing. The shittiest thing. But then to top it off, and I don't know if this has been confirmed, but the family, Sparkle's family, was paid off to say that it wasn't the daughter in the tape. And I was blown away. And the thing that shook me the most about the whole thing was his influence. Like I mentioned earlier, like he had the black community backing him. Not necessarily for what he was doing behind closed doors, but they were standing in his corner because of his music. And then you go back and you listen to his music and the songs that he put out, and they're all like leading to his behind the scenes lifestyle and what he's doing. I never put two and two together that Aaliyah's song Age Ain't Nothing But a Number played into this. I had no idea. And of course, like I was younger. I was 13, 14, I think, when Aaliyah started putting out music. I don't know. I was young. I was very young when Aaliyah started putting out music. I might have been younger than that. But she put that song out, and she's producing with R. Kelly. And then I heard that Aaliyah got married to R. Kelly, and I was like, that's really fucking weird. And then they finally released the documentation saying that somebody lied about her age, saying she was 18 when she was only 15 years old, and this motherfucker is 27. Wow. That's insane to me. Like how? Like how does that happen? How does, oh my God, and hearing these girls tell their stories and about how R. Kelly had just trained them to respond to his every word. And one of the girls apparently got freed. Like her mom came and was able to rescue her. And at the end of the documentary, it says 3 days later, she went back to R. Kelly. Now, she's since come back home to her mother, but the idea that she went through, and this girl in particular, R. Kelly had her shave her head to look like a boy, wear boys' clothing, and he treated her like she was a dude, like she was a boy toy. And she was with him for so long that when her mom rescued her, she went back 3 days later. She, like I said, she's since been rescued, and apparently she's getting back to being a normal person, but holy shit. Like, that's the type of evil in the world that is so infuriating to me, because this dude literally hid in plain view. And he's continuing to make music, he's continuing to do tours, past tense, he was still making all this money, and he's mistreating these women. And not even women, these girls. They were young girls. These motherfuckers weren't even graduating high school yet. Some of them were like 17, but they were still in high school. And you got to keep in mind that as this timeline progresses, he's getting older. Like, the Aaliyah thing was whenever he was 27. And then this motherfucker hit 30 and then 40, and he's still fucking with 14-year-old girls. I understand that he was molested as a child. I understand that. But he took what his molester did to him, allegedly, because no one has confirmed who molested him. There's just been rumors about it. But he took what his molester did to him and did it to these other girls. And his mind was telling him that he was doing nothing wrong, that the whole world was wrong and he was doing something right. That delusion is dangerous. Because eventually he got to the mindset of, it's cool, I'm fucking up, shit's gonna eventually catch up with me, but to throw people off my scent, I'm just gonna drop another song. I'm gonna talk about something else. I'm gonna convince people that I changed my life, but in actuality, I'm doing the same shit. Wow, man. Wow. I know that from what I've read and from the documentary, he's since been dropped from doing concerts. He's no longer streaming on like Spotify and Apple Music. You can still find his music, but he's not like streaming as a part of a bunch of channels. Apparently he's going through another court thing, I think. I know someone was trying to like sue him or press charges or something like that. But I don't know what honest man is kicking it with R. Kelly now. Who the fuck is going to these clubs and not fucking this dude's day up? Who is not beating his ass? Because if he goes to jail, he will die. If he's in general population, someone's gonna fucking kill him. How is he walking the streets? And how does he still have a team? This motherfucker apparently still has a team of people that are still riding with them. I know he still has some fans that are still riding with him, which is mind-blowing in and of itself, because these people just refuse to believe that this, and I'm using quotes here, larger-than-life star would do these horrendous things. And one of the girls on there said that it's kind of like he has a split personality, because R. Kelly is a fantastic person, but Ronald Kelly is a fucking monster. I watched that shit, man. That shit hurt my heart. That shit hurt my soul. That shit made me uncomfortable. But I watched it because there's a lot of darkness in this world that is very uncomfortable, and we have to be willing to face it. We can't just sweep it underneath the rug. We can't constantly deny it, because it will continue. He's not the only one doing this. He can't be the only one doing this. But he is a celebrity with influence and power, and at the time money, to keep this whole thing going, to pay people off. Because motherfuckers will bend to a price. People will be bought for a price. And that's the scariest thing. You can buy somebody's silence. Fucking wow, man. And the kicker to all of it was, I went on YouTube and I watched the clips that were about his brother, his younger brother, the one who got accused of being in the video when he clearly wasn't. But in the clips, he talks about how he also was molested, and he said he was molested by his older sister. And he thinks that R. Kelly was molested by her as well, which is where the rumor is, was he or wasn't he? But he mentioned that the motherfucking authorities were potentially kicking around an idea of making a deal with Kelly. And the deal was, Kelly said, hey man, I'll release all these girls, but in exchange, I don't want to have to go to jail. And apparently he's thinking about just moving to Africa so he doesn't have to deal with this bullshit. And they're considering it. They are considering letting this dude off free from everything that he's done for 20 years now. Over 20 years. They're thinking of letting him off so he can walk the earth and do this in another location. And not have to answer for the horrible, horrible, disgusting, disturbing things that he has done to these women, to these girls. And he can continue the cycle. His brother described what happened to him, man. And that shit's dark too. Like, his sister is a piece of shit. And the funny thing, and it's not even funny, but the thing that got me about his interview is that apparently his nephew got shot by doing something. I don't fucking know, they didn't explain. Or I didn't watch that part of it. But his sister, after not speaking to him for 20 years, calls him to check up on his son. And he tells his sister, I just want to let you know I forgive you for molesting me when I was a child. And the sister fucking denied it. She said, I don't know what you're talking about. And that shook him. He felt like he was being molested again, but this time it was mental instead of physical. The fuck is wrong with people, man? All I know is I hope R. Kelly gets what he has coming to him. I hope that these girls can eventually go back to living a life that they want to. Because 2 of them, apparently, from the documentary still have not been heard of or heard from since like 2016. And we're in 2019 now. There's been no word about them. So I hope that whatever's coming to him happens like now, like happens soon. Because this shit's fucking unacceptable. We as a community, we as a people need to be better than this. We can't let this type of shit happen anymore. If you're a proud black man or woman, stand up and don't let this shit happen again. I know that there's protesters that are doing the Mute R. Kelly movement, and it's awesome. Do that shit, for sure. But if you're a proud black man or woman, this shit cannot happen again. We cannot have a repeat of this. And if you're a caring human being, this shit can't happen ever again to anybody, because no one deserves for that kind of shit to happen to them. I don't give a fuck. Keep the communication open with your kids, because apparently what was happening with some of these is that these kids just were not talking to their parents about it. Keep those fucking communication doors open. Be there for your kids. Be willing to have conversations with your kids. Be there to support them. Let them know constantly that you love them. You don't want the door to open to a predator.